Hello, Juan. Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and with the help of my GoPro camera, I am going to show you how I cut your prescription lenses in your new Polo 2058 color 5245, which is the black red. This is a 52 eye size, beautiful frame, spring hinges. It's got the red rider on the side. Of course, it comes in many colors, but this is the black red color 5245. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to pop out your original demo lenses, put those on the counter. Of course, this is the Polo case. You'll be receiving the Polo cleaning cloth. It's got the embossed logo on the cover there. Let me put this to the side while I work. But I'm going to put your frame face down into the tracing element of my Santinelli LE1000 patternless edger. The stylus is coming up and is tracing the shape of the right lens, and then it's going to move over and trace the shape of the left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy the frame and you get free single vision prescription lenses. High quality lenses at that. Cut by the coolest guy in the business. Alright, so I pulled up the shape of your lens right here. I'm going to put in your pupillary distance of 63.5. Oops, I overshot it. There is 63.5. This is a polycarbonate lens being cut for a Xyle frame, which is an old school name for plastic. So let's begin. Your right eye reads -150, -50 at 125. We'll pull your lens out of its protective sleeve. And, let's see, spin the axis wheel on my Marco 101 lensometer to 125. Zero in my eyepiece. That is perfect. Now I'm going to set the power drum to -150. Put your lens in, and now I'm going to rotate it until it comes in clear, the sphere power. Check your astigmatism correction. We're good there. I'm going to put 3 dots on here, which are going to be hard for you to see, so I'm going to take my pen, make them a little bit darker. I can see them, and now you can see them, and this is the right lens. I'm going to put an R for right. Turn all the equipment on there. That helps when it's working. Your left eye is a -175 sphere. So I'm just going to put this in. Power drum at -175. This is a spherical lens. And because you have no astigmatism, I'm only going to put 1 dot in the center. I just need to know where your lens is. Let me find a better pen. That's my spare. No one else can mess it up and leave the cap off. Okay, so that is the left. Now, there's going to be a block that holds this in place while it's cutting, and I need to put a little sticky pad on here, so I'm going to put the block in the blocker. I've got a little 3M sticky pad. The black side is the sticky side. I'm going to stick it on the block, pull away the tape, making it sticky on this side. And then what I've got essentially is the crosshairs of a scope. I've got a meridian that is vertically and horizontally, and I make sure I get those 3 dots lined up perfectly across that horizon. So now I'm going to do the same thing for the left, except with no astigmatism correction, your lens can literally rotate and you're going to see just fine. So I'm going to put the sticker on there, pull that side off, and we are dead center in front of that red dot. That's going to sit directly in front of your pupil. So I'm going to take your right lens, put it into the chuck of my $30,000 Santinelli edger. I recommend everyone go out and get one of these so that you can put it on your kitchen counter and you can cut glasses at home. You won't need me anymore. After this tutorial, just type in the pupillary distance, the lens material, what type of frame it is, and hit start. So the stylus is actually tracing the concave side of the lens first, which is closest to your eyelashes. Now it's moving over to trace the convex side, which sits away from the face. The caliper is measuring the thickness of the lens to know exactly where to put the bevel. The actual cutting wheel is down here on the bottom. It is that heavy grit sandpaper looking wheel. That's going to grind away the polycarbonate. This wheel in the center with that channel is what's going to put the bevel onto the lens so it stays inside the bevel of the frame. I will have to close the door as it gets cutting due to the sound, but for now, I just want you to see your lens touch the cutting wheel. This whole process takes about 15 minutes. It's now 4:50 on Saturday, May 3rd, 51 degrees in my hometown of Durham, North Carolina. At least according to my new Samsung 2 Gear watch. I had the first one for 4 months, now I need this one. So your lenses, Juan, are polycarbonate. Polycarbonate is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. It is virtually unbreakable. It is bulletproof up to 22 caliber and has both ultraviolet A and ultraviolet B protection, UVA and UVB. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin from overexposure. Your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin, so you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes. This lens is also aspherical, meaning a basketball is spherical. It's completely round all the way around. That curvature is the same on a basketball no matter which way you go. Aspheric starts off round and then flattens. So it's a much flatter lens. You don't get that ugly fishbowl appearance like you get from some lenses. This is going to sit inside your frame with no edge thickness. You're not going to have any bulging lenses that cosmetically looks terrible. So it's actually done cutting, and it's actually putting the bevel onto the lens now on that middle wheel. In just a moment, water jets are going to kick in and wash away all the optical debris. Then after that, I'm going to take it out and see if it'll fit into your frame. Up till now, the lens has been cutting dry. Polycarbonate cuts dry, where plastic and high-index plastic lenses cut wet. Essentially, those water jets would be running the whole time if this were plastic. So this is just the very end of the cycle. Okay, we're almost done. Take this out of the chuck. Thank you, Chuck. I'm going to dry your lens off so it is not slippery, and do not drop it on live TV. That's always embarrassing when that happens. So we're almost done. This is close to the final shape, but what I want to do, you still have a little bit of rough edges, so I'm going to smooth that out. I've got a handstone here which is completely flat. I can put my hand against it while it's running, and where my finger does get warm from the friction, but that's all that happens. So I'm going to go around the edge of your lens with a really fine grit sandpaper and smooth everything down. This white powdery substance is called Schwarf. I like to scrape that off the edge of your lens, let it fall onto the counter, and I do this so much every day that I have worn a V-shaped bevel into my thumbnail where it's no longer curved like the rest of my fingernails. So once that is all off, I collect that optical debris into one nice clean pile, and then I wipe it on the floor. This is where I say, kids, stay in school. I went to school for years to learn how to make a mess like that. Stay in school, learn to make a mess like me. Okay, let's see if this fits. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner. Then using my thumbs, I'm going to press down at the nose. It still needs to come down just a little bit. I do not want to force it in there. So I'm going to take it down 1/10 of a millimeter and hit the retouch button. Now, a millimeter is the distance between my thumbnails. I'm going to take 1/10 of that distance that you see there, all the way around the circumference of the lens. The golden rule, you can always cut more off of a lens, but you can never add it back on. So I start a little large and then work my way down. Once I get the size just right, I'm going to flip it over and then cut the left lens. The right lens always takes a little bit longer. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. Of course, there's water splashing up on here. Hang on, I'm going to clean that off there. Make sure there's no water on the lens. The reason I want to put it in when it's too firm, the reason I'm taking it down a little bit more, is that if I were to force that lens in there, it could stretch the frame, causing it to deform. Or think of this frame as a little gutter, and if it was in there too tight, that gutter would be forced to turn. And it's called when the frame rolls, and I don't want your lens to eventually pop out. It looks terrible, and since I cut my own lenses, I control the quality of the lab work that comes out. So again, back to the handstone real quick, back to the safety bevel real quick. I'm going to speed through this, scrape this off, put it on the counter. You know what's coming next. You know what's coming next. Just to change it up a little bit, how about a little behind the back technique? Woo, kids, stay in school, learn to be like me. All right, so I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner first, and then using my thumbs, press down at the nose. It snaps in perfectly. So let me go ahead and start on the left. I'm going to flip, this was the right lens, I'm going to flip it over to the left and hit start. And just like the first time, the calipers are going to come down and trace the shape of your left lens this time. It's going to trace, just like it did before, onto the concave side of the lens first, closest to your eyelashes. Then it's going to move over and trace the convex outside of the lens. All the while measuring the thickness of the lens, knowing exactly where to place the bevel so it stays inside the frame perfectly where you have no edge thickness whatsoever. Perfect cosmetics when it comes to that. Because I know no matter how nice a frame is, if your lenses are jacked up, you just ain't going to wear it. So as this begins to cut, I'm going to go ahead and keep working on the right lens. So this block is no longer needed. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. I'm going to pull this sticker off. You've got some red dots on there. I'm going to leave on there for now because I'm going to need those for measurements coming up. But I want to test to see how your lens is in there. I'm going to pop it back out. We are good. That's not too tight. I'm going to pop it back in one more time. Perfect. If you ever want to take these lenses and pop them into another color, you'll be able to do that. Just tuck them in at the outside corner. Then using your thumbs, it's always with your thumbs. It's always at the nose. So the side I'm working on, I have closest to me. I'm not trying to reach over the frame to do something. I tuck it in at the side closest to me. Then using my thumbs, I press down at the nose. In order to take it out, I turn the frame upright, I flip it back over where the lenses are pointed downward. I'm right-handed, so I grab the frame with my left hand, and with my knuckle, I pull back gently on the frame. You can torque it. You're not going to hurt the frame, and you're not going to hurt your unbreakable lenses. But I have one thumb down at the nose, and using the other thumb to press against the back, I push out, and out comes your lens. Again, to tuck it in, I turn it upright, put it in the side closest to me, then with my thumbs, press down at the nose. Now I want to go ahead and check your astigmatism correction. Your lens reads -1 1/4, so axis 1 1/4, so I'm staying there at 125. I'm gonna go in, check. We have -150 in power. 150 is halfway between 1 and 2. You have astigmatism correction of 2 steps, which I'll explain in a moment. Perfect, dead on. We're getting a total of -2. So your prescription reads -150, -50 at 125. That's your right eye. Your left eye reads -175. The minus means that you needed lenses to minify. Without your glasses on, objects are too large. Then they actually really are. So when you put your glasses on, it shrinks things down to the correct size. The unit of measurement in the optical field is called a diopter, spelled D-I-O-P-T-E-R. Everything is in quarter increments, where 0 is just that. There's no prescription, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1, so on, 1 1/4, 150. You need 6 steps of correction to minify to the correct size. The second box, astigmatism, and there is a stigma over the word astigmatism. It just means shape. It's like saying someone has straight hair, someone else has curly hair. It is no big deal. It is not a disease. It is not an affliction. It just tells us you have a second curvature. And that second curvature makes everything fuzzy for you, so that numbers 6s and 8 look alike. The letters P and F look alike. So this number gets everything the correct size. This number takes away the fuzzy edges to make everything nice and crisp. Think of it as a fine-tune knob. And the axis is 125. That's an arbitrary number. It can be anywhere from 0 to 180. It has no power. It's just an arbitrary number. A straight edge, if you remember, is if you have a circle which is 360 degrees, from this point to this point, 0 to 180 is a straight line. So with 90 and 270 being the vertical meridian, 0 and 180 being the horizontal. So if we're at 125, 0, 180. Here's the 90. We're going to go past the 90 to about 125. 135 is exactly between 190 and 180. So you're about right there where we would turn that knob. Your left eye has no astigmatism correction. You just need actually one additional step of correction where you're on the 6th rung of the ladder for the right eye. You're on the 7th rung. You need 7 steps of correction to minify, but everything is the correct size. I mean, once it's the correct size, everything is not fuzzy. It's automatically clear at the correct size. So let me pull this out, dry everything off again. Back to the handstone. And because my wife hates it, sorry honey, my wife hates it when I throw this on the floor, so in her honor today, and today only, since Mother's Day is next weekend, I'm going to clean this up, and I'm actually going to throw this away in the trash can. But see how long it takes me to throw everything away. I get it all into one pile, then I carefully wipe it into my hands, and follow me as I walk all the way to the trash can. Now see how long that took? I just don't have that much time in the course of a day. That's why I throw it on the floor. Sorry, honey. Okay, let's see if this fits now. I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner, and then using my thumbs, I'm going to press down at the nose. It snaps in perfectly. So I'm going to take this block off. I'm going to dry this up, and now, using the back of your card, your pupillary distance, let's see, is 63.5. I've covered up your phone number and your email, so all your adorning fans will not be able to track you down and stalk you. You owe me one, Juan, keeping your privacy there. So 63.5, I'm going to take my PD stick, and I'm going to put the 0 over your right eye, that red dot. And when we look on this side, it comes to 63.5. Hopefully you can see that on the GoPro camera, so that measurement is perfect. I'm going to set this down. I'm going to clean these red dots off of your lenses. Now you're going to pick these up from me, but there's still one more step I want to do, which is get the frame in standard alignment, meaning that it sits level on the table. Clean your lenses up. I'm actually going to hold them to the light, make sure there's no blemishes. Perfect. So I want your frame to be in a 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I set it on the counter and push down with my thumbs. There is no wobble. I flip it over, do the same test. I press down with my thumbs. There is no wobble. I make sure that each temple overlaps perfectly and one's not higher or lower than the other. They do overlap. Same amount of tension on both spring hinges. That feels good. So that's that. I'm going to get these cleaned up and get them ready to you. I think you said you're going to pick them up tomorrow. So that is that. If anyone has any questions, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com, or just click the contact me button if you're on the website. Juan, I hope you enjoyed watching your glasses being made. I do thank you for buying these from me. You could have purchased them from anyone, but you bought them from the guy who gives you free prescription lenses. Well played, sir. Well played indeed. Everyone else, I hope you had the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.